Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Farzy Show. Sixers win. Flyers win. Flyers win again. Ben Simmons might get traded. Oh, my goodness. And the Eagles get help from the Dallas Cowboys. Now, here's the thing. Going into the bye week, a lot of people are asking the question about, can you root for the Cowboys? Can you root for the Cowboys? It's possible to not root for the Cowboys, but still hope the team that they're playing loses. That's the way I like to think of it. And when I saw the Washington football team light themselves on fire during the game, I thought to myself, Micah Parsons, he's pretty good at football. That was true. That was great to see, as a matter of fact. So when I look at all that played out yesterday, and I know they fought back a little bit in the game, but the Cowboys held out the Eagles tremendously. Because if you look at the standings, ladies and gentlemen, we'll start it out with that. Look at this, courtesy of ESPN. See the Cardinals, they play tonight, Monday Night Football against the Rams. They're up there with the 10-win teams, the Packers, the Buccaneers, all that stuff. And then you look all down there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 teams with 6 wins on the season. 5 teams with a 6-7 record. So right now, and the Eagles happen to play that team, the Washington football team, this coming Sunday. So we'll see how that plays out. They face them twice. So the Eagles very much in that playoff hunt. So we asked this question on our social media. I rarely ever plug this during the show because I'm not looking at it until after the show, but here you go. Here's the question we're asking you today on our Twitter poll today, okay? Are the Eagles going to make the playoffs? I want to see how confident the good people of Philadelphia are that the Eagles will make the playoffs with the 4 games they have remaining on the schedule. Washington, Giants, Washington, and then they got the Dallas Cowboys coming to town to round out the season to end the year. So that is what we have coming our way. That's what we'll be discussing a little bit today. We got plenty of Sixers conversation because I am still giddy. And I use this term every once in a while. I am smitten. I am in deep smit with Matisse Thybulle right now, and everybody should be. Because with the way we looked at this game on Friday, when we broke it all down for you, one thing that I pointed out was how I am just done with Danny Green. And I see friend of the show, Kyle Neubeck, put out the story early, and a lot of people were tweeting it out, but I saw Kyle's first, that Matisse Thybulle was starting over Danny Green against Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors. And I thought, ooh, Matisse Thybulle has got an exclamation point in his back pocket right now. And if he plays well against Steph Curry, which I was confident he would play well, I wasn't as confident that he'd play as well as he did, but oh my goodness, he played incredible. And he was going to take that exclamation point and slap it on the table. And that's what he did in that game. And I can't be happier to see that type of performance from Matisse Thybulle and what he was able to do against Steph Curry. If you didn't see this stat, this pretty much rounds it out pretty well. This is from StatMuse. Check this out. Matisse Thybulle, first player ever to block multiple Steph Curry three-point attempts in a game. And the one that really stuck out to me, one of the two that really stuck out, and he had 2 blocks in total, but no one's ever done that before. Let's celebrate this man, Matisse Thybulle, and the greatness that we saw against the Golden State Warriors. Early in the third quarter, yeah, they even teased it going into halftime, I believe, the broadcast crew for ABC, talking about how the Warriors, they own the third quarter. Oh, you got to watch out. They own the third quarter. Watch out for the Warriors. And they made a bit of a run in that third quarter. They absolutely did. However, with about 10 minutes to go in that third quarter, Matisse Thybulle and Steph Curry are at the top of the key. Steph Curry steps back beyond the arc. Matisse Thybulle's on him. Matisse Thybulle takes a swat with his left hand. Wah! And Steph Curry doesn't shoot. And then you see Steph Curry start to rise, and you see Matisse Thybulle then swat with his right hand. Little windmill action. Blocks it on the second attempt. And I thought that's the way to set a tone for the second half of play. I thought Joel Embiid was great defensively. I thought Matisse Thybulle obviously was great defensively. I thought the Sixers team as a whole was great defensively. And although it's a little overdue as far as I'm concerned, I give credit to Doc Rivers on actually pulling the trigger on this idea of putting Matisse Thybulle on Steph Curry on a game like tonight. And hopefully, here's what it comes down to. If you remember, going into last year, I believe it was, Danny Green Matisse Thybulle supposed to be very similar players in terms of skill set, in terms of style of play. 3-and-D guys. Danny Green's been a good defender throughout his entire career. Has been an inconsistent three-point shooter, but has had his good years, obviously. Matisse Thybulle was saying how he wanted to be like Danny Green. Danny Green said this in, I think, one of his Green Room podcasts. And he said, Matisse Thybulle came up to him and said, I want to be like you. And Danny Green said, no. You got to be better than me. Well, that has happened. Matisse Thybulle is better than Danny Green. And I always stand by this idea of playing your best in your starting five. Every once in a while, you might have the great mismatch off the bench, and that's fine. You bring somebody off the bench as your sixth man. I mean, we could go back to the days of Aaron McKee to know how important that is for any basketball team. But your best five should play. Your best five should start. Matisse Thybulle is one of the five best players on this team. Plays the same position as Danny Green, can give you better minutes with the same style of play as Danny Green. Definitely got to work on that three-point shooting, but Matisse Thybulle does something great, and he is a great defender. Already a second-team all-defensive player, all-defensive team in the NBA, and when you heard Joel Embiid go off after this game against the Golden State Warriors, well, let's start the postseason awards already for what this player could do. This is Joel Embiid talking about what Matisse Thybulle brings to the table.
Joel, I'm going to start with you, but tell me, what did you think of Matisse's defensive effort tonight against Steph Curry?
Man, I've been on this since he got here. I think he has a chance to be the defensive player of the year. So, he showed that tonight. The way he got it, Steph, I think it was, I haven't seen it in a long time, so there you go. That's the guy.
Matisse, what was your defensive mentality just driving here to the arena, knowing that you were going to be defending Steph Curry all night long?
It was no secret that he's going for this record right now, and Joe and I talked today during shoot-around, and he said we're not letting it happen in our house, so took it upon myself to make sure it didn't.
Like, how do you not love that guy? Like, I've said it from the beginning, like, Matisse Thybulle, just in his own right, just side note, adorable human being. And he just, listening to Joel Embiid talk about how he's defensive player of the year, he has to be defensive player of the year. I mean, this is the type of game that people talk about throughout the league. Like, if you don't think that other coaches around the NBA were going, did you see Matisse Thybulle on Steph Curry? Did you see that? Did you see that game in Philly? Did you see what Matisse Thybulle was doing? See what they did defensively as a team? And here's where I'll go even beyond Matisse Thybulle. As a team, if Thybulle had a screen on him, if he had to run through a pick, whatever it was, next man up in that moment was running to Steph Curry. And that's how every team has to play, but not every team is actually able to execute it. Not every team was actually able to go out there and actually do it the way that this team was actually able to go out there and do it against the Warriors on over this weekend. To me, it was absolutely a stellar defensive performance. And as far as the three-point game went, Matisse Thybulle was asked about his three-point prowess in this game. 2 of 3 from beyond the arc. All of his 6 points came by way of the three-pointer. Here is Matisse Thybulle when he was asked about this. I believe it was by Lauren Rosen of Sixers.com.
Well, I finally made a couple. But no, this was a big game. Like, there was, sold out, and when you have the energy of Philly behind you, it's contagious. And yeah, when you get the opportunity to make a big play and celebrate with the greater Philly area, it's a pretty good feeling.
That's got to be one of the greatest things ever, is just to be able to perform at the high level that you are and then have an entire Wells Fargo Center go crazy for you. That's got to be fantastic, as one would assume. And with Philly fans getting some of the bad pub that they get every once in a while, it's good to have some good pub like that. So it was great to watch that type of performance. Overall, on Friday, if you remember, we showed you this little thing from Keith Pompey's story, and I even came out and said the same thing after they lost to the Utah Jazz. Sixers aren't an elite team at this time. Well, that was then, and this is now. And although I don't see the Sixers all of a sudden making it to the Eastern Conference Finals with the way that they played against the Warriors, because let's face it, they were at home. They got up for this game. If it was something that maybe was a little bit more important to the Warriors, look, I'm not going to take anything away from winning. However, I'm not going to say because they beat the Warriors that I change everything about them now all of a sudden, they're an elite team. I'll say this, they can be an elite defensive team, But when it comes to everything else, it comes to playoffs, it comes to major runs as the season goes on, that's where I still, and I think most people would agree, that's where they still need some help. That's where they need the return on a Ben Simmons trade to put them over the top and put them back to a legit Eastern Conference contending team, to be up there with the Nets, to be up there with teams like the Bucks, to be up there with teams that you know are going to be there when push comes to shove, basically when playoff season comes around. And I think everybody understands that. So I don't think too many people are getting carried away with what they did against the Warriors. They're celebrating what they did in that game, and rightfully so. But I don't think anyone's taking how they performed in that game and go, we'll see if they don't even need Ben Simmons, or they don't even need anything in return for Ben Simmons. No. They absolutely do. Everybody realizes that. There might be one or two people that are getting a little too carried away with it, but celebrate what they did in this game, and hopefully they'll keep it going tonight against the Grizzlies when they get things started up again. The other thing was, Joel Embiid in this particular game, there's the in shape thing is out the window. The cheeseburgers thing, that's out the window. The injury thing, I think, is always going to be there with Joel Embiid. I think that people are always going to be worried about that, concerned about that. We already told you about it last week when we got into the idea of how he's changed a lot of people's mindset when it comes to the center position. That position is now allowed to shoot threes, when that was just ridiculous when I was growing up. Oh, centers don't shoot threes. What are you, crazy? And now he's a 40% three-point shooter. So yeah, you're gonna let him shoot three-pointers. But the one thing that I think still needs to be drilled into Joel Embiid's head, and this is just an aside, and this is nitpicking on what otherwise was a perfect performance. The little interaction he had on I forget who it was with Golden State. They got a little shoving match. It wasn't Draymond Green, but they got a little shoving match, and he ended up getting teed up on the play. He gave a little something extra when the play was over. He was really begging for calls, Joel Embiid, throughout the entire game, and both teams were doing it. The refs called a rather inconsistent game, let's say. But Joel Embiid finally got a call when he was elbowed in the head. And after he got the call, he still gave a little push to the player that fouled him. And he turned around like, what are you teeing me up for, or whatever. And that's just something you can't do. You still got to play well within yourself. And in a game like this that meant a lot to this team, to this city, obviously, with the way the Flyers have been playing and the Sixers having a bye week, the Eagles having a bye week, you wanted to see a win. And it was too tight a game to have a play like that. Sixers obviously made up for it. But it was just something that I thought, Joel, of all the things that we've thrown out the window that can be criticisms of you, critiques of you, the one that still holds true is every once in a while between the ears, you let it go. You got to be in better control in situations, because that stuff like that ain't gonna work in the playoffs. And hopefully the refs will be a little more loose in calls like that. Let's just say that. But otherwise, perfect performance. Enjoyed the hell out of it. Can't wait to watch the game again tonight when they play against the Grizzlies, and hopefully the Sixers keep the good vibes going. And by the way, you know it's a big win when I lost every one of my bets in that game, and I'm still ecstatic about the way that they played. One last thing I wanted to give you here, and it's the ultimate respect. When the opposing coach gives you love, you know it's big. This is Steve Kerr on the defensive prowess of a one Matisse Thybulle from the other night.
I give Thybulle credit. I thought he was fantastic defensively, and he's a rare combination, of length and athleticism and brains, and he did as good a job on Steph as anybody I've seen in a long time.
What more do you need? What more do you need, folks? What more do you need? So great Sixers win. See how they do a little bit later. Flyers. I want to get into this before we get into the Ben Simmons scenario. Flyers, I could not be happier. And to lose 10 games in a row and go through that and watch those games, grueling would be the word that comes to mind, especially when they just look like a team that's absolutely in quicksand, and anything they do to try to force something positive, they just sink deeper and deeper and deeper. When Kevin Hayes scored the first goal against the Golden Knights on Friday night, that was a goal that should not have gone in. That was a goal that the goalie was in the right place at the right time, and the Flyers simply got the bounce. And I'm not going to be as dramatic and say, when I saw that go in, I thought something special was going to happen. No, but it definitely got the wheels turning, that maybe this is the game that the Flyers will actually get the bounces going in their way. And then later on, Saturday night, you had a cross-ice pass that JVR was right there for, or excuse me, Braun was right there for, and he buried it in the back of the net. Like, just little things like that let you know, like, maybe the worlds are starting to shift. Maybe the weights of fortune are starting to shift a little bit to go in your favor. And that's what it looked like for me watching the Flyers over the 2 games, the 2 wins that they were able to get. JVR had a 2-goal game on Saturday. Like I said, Kevin Hayes started things off for you guys on Friday with a great goal that was just able to get past the goaltender. Claude Giroux had a couple of assists. Sean Couturier got off the schneid with his first goal in over a month. I mean, really, just little things happened. Carter Hart, this wasn't a little thing at all, but 41 saves against the Golden Knights on Friday night was spectacular. That series that they had, I believe, in the midway point of the third period was insane with him just stopping everything. That's the way the Flyers have to play from here on out. We know that, look, it's going to be a rough road. I still don't think that there's some great team. All of a sudden, poof, they're great. But I think they're a team that's much better than losing 10 games in a row. I think they're a team that can make the playoffs. I think they're a team that can be better from this point on, much better than what we saw over that 10-game stretch. And hopefully now it's a matter of putting a couple more of these together. They got off that schneid. They put 2 wins. Look, all of a sudden you win one more game. It's called, what did they tell us in Major League? A winning streak. So let's hope that keeps going. Credit to the Flyers, and we'll cross our fingers that party keeps on happening. Okay. We acknowledged earlier that Ben Simmons needs to be traded. They need a return on that trade that will put them over the top. Woj came out late Friday afternoon, early Friday evening with this tweet. And this is what started things up on the interweb. ESPN reporting with Zach Lowe. Philadelphia's trade conversations on Ben Simmons gathering momentum in recent days. More teams engaged, more 2- and 3-way deal structure. Talks ongoing as Sixers try to land a top 25 player for Simmons. That right there is what I'm talking about. That's the best way to put it. Get a top 25 player in return. By the way, other tweets, Woj also putting out there that the Portland Trail Blazers are in no way, shape, or form interested in trading Dame Lillard. So just forget about that. He is off the table. Here's what I say to any report that has anybody off the table in any trade ever. That's cute. That's what I have. That's my response to any time somebody says, yeah, but that guy's off the table. That guy's untouchable. Okay. Everyone's got a price. Everything's negotiable. So although it might be a very high price, one that you don't want the Sixers to pay, I'm still going to be feeling that out until Ben Simmons is no longer on the Sixers, until if I'm Daryl Morey, until I decide, okay, it's time to move on. It's time to pull the trigger on a deal. Let me see what else I can get back in return. So although all I read that as is it's going to be very difficult to get him, nearly impossible, but nothing is impossible. Especially in the NBA trade wins, especially with when you never know what another team is willing to throw in on any type of deal, especially when you talk about the 3-team deals that could be incorporated into a deal with Ben Simmons. But top 25 player is the most important thing, because that's where you're really talking about all-stars. Because it's come out so many times over that the Sixers are looking for an all-star caliber player. No, thank you. I don't want an all-star caliber player. I want an all-star player. I don't want some like Tobias Harris up until this year had been considered an all-star caliber player. He's in that conversation. Oh, he was a fringe all-star last year. This year, not so much. But I don't want another Tobias Harris. I can't say this enough. I'll scream it every single time the trade conversation comes up. I don't want another Tobias Harris level player. I need somebody that is way closer to the Joel Embiid level than I do the Tobias Harris level. Now, that might be on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being Joel Embiid. That might be a guy that's more of a 6 or 7 than it is an 8 or a 9, or a guy, please give me a 10. I don't see that happening. The one that is the most appealing to me, and the guy is a player option for next year, the one is Bradley Beal. That's the scorer you need. That's there's no conscious when he's shooting. He just lets it air out. I think that's what you need on this team. The guy is a proven scorer. He can get you 30 a game. That's the guy that compete with Joel Embiid to hit shots at the end of a game, to be the guy that can be close to a 30-point scorer for you. And that's what I'd love to see come in here. Defensively, I think between Joel Embiid and Matisse Thybulle in your starting lineup, I think you got a pretty good defense right there, just those two guys alone. That's the one that's the most attractive to me. That's the one I also think is the easiest to try to pull off. And that could just be a 2-team trade, a very simple trade. Ben Simmons, a 1, maybe another one. You bring in Bradley Beal here to Philadelphia, as long as maybe you could sign him to a longer-term deal. That's the deal right now that's kind of being floated out there. Feelers, some NBA insiders have kind of put it out there as just a conversation piece right now. But when it comes to this type of deal, everything's on the table as far as I'm concerned. And when the Sixers look at the Blazers, if they look at the Wizards, if they look at the Spurs again, whoever it might be, if it's Cleveland again, whoever it might be, everything seems to be on the table right now. And I think with Woj putting out the stories that he's putting out now, and other NBA reporters putting out similar stories as well, those are all ideas, those are all deals that could go down as soon as this week. With things approaching the way they're approaching, with things developing as they're developing, as Woj getting information around this point right now, it's very interesting to see what could come up. As of Wednesday, when you're talking about free agents possibly being able to negotiate other deals, it kind of moves things along. You could be looking at Wednesday as the last day Ben Simmons is a Philadelphia quote-unquote 76er. So this week is a huge week for what could happen in the very near future for the Sixers and whatever they could get back with Ben Simmons. I don't know what you guys want. I don't know what is on top of your list. If Dame Lillard is really off the table, if that is going to be too high a price to pay to try to bring him here. CJ McCollum obviously has his health issues. What's the deal? What's your favorite deal that's out there right now? Is it possibly Bradley Beal? Is it anything you can do for the Spurs? Are the Kings still on there with the Aaron Fox? That's another deal that I would definitely consider. That would be a very interesting move if they're able to pull that off. Halliburton could be involved in that. Buddy Hield could be involved in that. That's probably number 2 on my list right now, and it's a close 1 and 2. But when it comes to not giving up the most but still getting a lot in return, that Beal deal is a very interesting one to me, and I know other people were talking about that going into the season. So what right now is your favorite Sixers deal for Ben Simmons? Because it could go down this week. So we'll continue that discussion as well. This is another interesting thing. I want to go back to this here. So yesterday, I'm watching the game, watching the Washington football team, and I'm watching the Dallas Cowboys. And the Dallas Cowboys, you need to win. And I know everyone has the internal struggle about, oh, can I root for the Cowboys? Can I not root for the Cowboys? If Washington loses, they go to 6-7. Eagles obviously coming out of the bye week at 6-7 already. Atlanta, they don't really scare me. Saints, no, they don't scare me either. Hold the tiebreak over those two anyway because you beat them. Minnesota and Kirk Cousins, also 6-7. They're a team that does scare me a little bit in terms of a team that could be pushing for that final wild card spot along with the Eagles. And let's not forget, just like last year, you get another deal. You get another playoff team with the wild card. It's 7 teams, not 6 anymore. It's 14 overall, 7 from each conference. So, the Eagles are going to be pushing for that spot, and quite frankly, right now are pushing for that spot. I think, and going back to last week's conversation with Barrett Brooks, I think the Gardner Minshew situation, although is not a quarterback controversy in the sense that, oh, well, he won, he looked good, so now he has to start this next week. No. It's still Jalen Hurts' team. He's still the starting quarterback. I said that even last week, even after I was very pleased with the way Gardner Minshew played. And now you're already seeing stories out there about how Gardner Minshew could be traded, with the Eagles still having his rights for next year as well. And if that happens, great. Bring back quarterback factory, flip him for picks. You could have traded for a 6th-round pick for him and then got in return the 3rd-round pick, 4th-round pick. Who knows? With the way you look at it right now, I look at this as another chip to be on the shoulder of Jalen Hurts. And I think about when you see the way he went through the offseason with making trades left and right for Deshaun Watson, people talking about, me in particular, talking about, oh, he's Mr. Right or Mr. Right now, that question being out there. I still love everything about Jalen Hurts. There's certainly things that I'd like to see improve upon, but hey, it's the first year he's had the starter's reign, so that's to be expected. And I'm still very confident in going into next year with him and pushing for another playoff spot. But I think a guy like Jalen Hurts, who says he's above it all and he just tries to do his job, I don't think he's the type of person that takes it personally where he gets pissed off about it, but I absolutely think it fuels him for motivation. And although you might say, like he said going into this season about Deshaun Watson and whether or not the Eagles were going to trade for him or trade for another quarterback or whatever it might be, the entire time he maintained the perfect mentality, the perfect mindset, the perfect competitor's edge every single time. So now, with just a little bit of conversation starting up about any type of quarterback controversy with Gardner Minshew, I think that's only going to make him pull focus even more. And if that's not going to add extra added motivation, I don't know what would. But he seems to pull from that type of off-the-field drama that a lot of people try to drum up or try to pull motivation from. So I think this Gardner Minshew conversation is only going to help Jalen Hurts focus more and be a lot more of the quarterback that we saw over the last 5 weeks of the season than we saw maybe in weeks 2, 3, and 4. Because that was the guy, and especially with Nick Sirianni's game plan, which was just terrible, that was the guy that we saw really start to struggle and really start to have concerns about. And the minute they started to go to more of a run-first offense, you started to see him play a lot better. You saw the steps forward from Jalen Hurts in the game against the Denver Broncos. The one play in particular, the unfortunate one that Dallas Goedert got hurt on, he stepped up in the pocket, read the defense well, delivered a great pass, trusted his receiver Devontae Smith to make a couple of plays for him. He had the touchdown pass that was right on the money. He had the jump ball, the first touchdown pass to Devontae Smith early in that game. We get more of that Jalen Hurts and the running ability from Jalen Hurts, this team is going to be in the playoffs. So when you're looking through all that you have looked through already, and you're looking through Twitter, and you're looking at our social media poll today, or Twitter poll today, when we ask you about whether or not the Eagles are going to make the playoffs, Washington looks like a tough football team. They split with them. Playoff hopes are kind of grim. But if the rest of the NFC continues to go down the tank, then the Eagles still have their shot by season's end. There's definitely an opportunity for them to win out. They got no juggernauts on the rest of the schedule when it comes to the Washington football team twice, the Giants, and then rounding things out with the Dallas Cowboys. Maybe the Dallas Cowboys, as the hope has been, maybe they're sitting people by that last game. Maybe they're already having their playoff position solidified and they don't want to play their starters in that final game of the season. The Eagles can take that one and make the playoffs. That's the ultimate goal here, which is why you wanted Washington not to improve yesterday and why you wanted Dallas to continue to be the top team in the NFC East, let's call it that, because that only helps the Eagles' chances of making the postseason. It also only helps the Eagles' chances of that game to the Cowboys at the end of the season not really being that big a deal. So the Eagles got their wish list. They improved on the bye week despite not playing. The other thing that popped up is this. The Eagles somehow, and I think this is a lot of it was because of Jeff McClain. Jeff McClain was talking about the Eagles' mindset in drafting Devontae Smith and not Micah Parsons. I would love Micah Parsons on this team. I just can't remember the last time the Eagles took a defensive player and we were all blown away with the way that they played in their rookie season. It's been a while. It wasn't Derek Barnett. It wasn't Brandon Graham. Fletcher Cox was good. Not defensive player of the year candidate like Micah Parsons. The Eagles just don't give a damn about the defensive side of the ball. Jalen Mills was a 7th-round pick. In no way, shape, or form am I saying he was at all anything sniffing, even in the same stratosphere as anything defensive player of the year. But Sidney Jones? No. They're just, when it comes to the defensive side of the ball, the Eagles have no idea what the hell they're doing. Certainly not a linebacker. So all of a sudden, I start to see tweets about Devontae Smith versus Micah Parsons. Yeah, I'd love Micah Parsons on this team. And with things being what they are right now, yeah, I'd love to cut that out and put it on the Eagles. That'd be great. What also would be great is to have Justin Jefferson and then Micah Parsons. And that's an argument I didn't see yesterday. When everyone was tearing down Devontae Smith, I go, isn't the better argument here drafting Justin Jefferson instead of Jalen Reagor and then taking Micah Parsons, and then you got those two guys on the team? Some might say revisionist history, but not me. Considering I was the Justin Jefferson bandwagon driver during the NFL draft, well before we were ever talking about Jalen Reagor. And I also went back. It actually came up in my memories, if you can believe this. Sal Paolantonio talking about how he was combing through his draft notes that he took from listening to GMs and coaches around the league. And it was how the vast majority of people had Jalen Reagor in the second round anyway. Yet Howie's like, oh, no, let me take him right here. But imagine that for a second. Justin Jefferson and Micah Parsons on the same squad. That'd be nice. Micah Parsons leading your defense, Justin Jefferson leading your offense. That'd be pretty. That would be a very pretty scenario to watch play out. So, look, the Eagles got 4 games left in the season. I'm in, man. I am in on the playoffs. Make it happen, boys. 4 games for your season. 4 games for the rest of your life. Hopefully that happens. Let's get into our good friend Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. Holiday season well upon us, ladies and gentlemen. I was down Christmas Village walking around yesterday. Little Toots got a picture with Santa for the first time. Beautiful experience. God, she hated it, but my wife loved it. Anyway, holiday season is here. Are you stocked up on your holiday gifts? Steven Singer is stocked up on his holiday gifts. Steven Singer Jewelers, the other corner of 8th and Walnut, right on Jewelers Row in Philadelphia. Have yourself a phenomenal time at Steven Singer Jewelers. You know you're going to get taken care of and treated like family every single time. And he's already got the perfect holiday gift ready to go for you. Anita Diamond Stud Earrings. Anita Diamond Stud Earrings. Beautiful, colorless, and they're flawless to the eye. These things are spectacular, and for the same price as last year, just under $270. That's right, just under $270, ladies and gentlemen. This place is fantastic. If you haven't gone to Steven Singer Jewelers, you got to check it out. IHateStevenSinger.com. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. One place, one price, the perfect price every single time at Steven Singer Jewelers. Stocked up for the holidays. Some people might be running out. Oh, back ordered. Steven is fully stocked, ready to go. Always fast and free shipping at IHateStevenSinger.com. That's IHateStevenSinger Jewelers. One place, one price, the perfect price every single day. IHateStevenSinger.com. Gonna hit a couple of comments first. We got no guests today, so I want to make sure I get to everybody here in our comments here, our chat check. Then we're gonna run into some sponsors as well before we get to our morning rush today on this fine Monday morning. Bye week over, rolling into the rest of football season. Good morning, Kevin. Nice to see you, buddy. Good morning to you, Dan. Good morning, Mike. Good morning to you and everybody. Sean, nice to have you. Sealski, too tired? What? Is that your rip? Sean, is that your rip today? Just Sealski? I like it. Dan, excuse me. Marc's voice sounds like he had Munchkin. What? Sounds like Munchkins. Oh, from Oz. Thank you. Gotcha. Thank you. Oh, Mally, what's going on, man? Good morning to you as well. Danny Green playing like something bad. If I could, would you? If I could, would you? What is that a reference to, by the way? I meant to ask that question. What is if I could, would you? If you could, what exactly? Danny Green, I think and I hope that we don't see him in the starting lineup for the rest of the season. I can't think of a matchup where you would rather have Danny Green starting for you as opposed to coming off the bench. If I could have my other than Joel Embiid, if I can have Matisse Thybulle, my best defender, in the starting lineup, why wouldn't I do that? Why wouldn't I want to create turnovers from jump? Why wouldn't I want the other coach having a game plan against that to start games out? Especially after a game like this. Like I said, if you don't think coaches are talking around the league about what Matisse Thybulle did to Steph Curry, the word spreads fast. So, yeah, I think a lot of people are having that conversation already. So, yeah, I'm done. As far as Danny Green goes, yeah, off the bench the rest of the season. Mike Johnson, God, that is an awesome stat. The stat on Matisse Thybulle, the fact that he had blocked Steph Curry twice and he's the only player to ever do that, yeah, that is a pretty incredible stat, no doubt. Mike's also saying, I love how Thybulle shut down Steph Curry. That alone made me super happy. It was a great weekend. You really could not have asked for more. Like, in all honesty, when I was recapping the weekend in the first 30 minutes of the show, like, think about this for a second. Sixers beat the Warriors. The Warriors were, 21-4 coming into that game? Sixers have been down an all-star guard the entire season. The second, the runner-up for Defensive Player of the Year. The Warriors come to town. They win that game. Not only do they win that game, Matisse Thybulle just absolutely dominates Steph Curry throughout the night. As a team, the Sixers dominated throughout the night. And here's the thing. The Warriors were the third best team, I think, defensively coming into that game in the NBA. So everyone was talking about how great their offense is. And, yeah, they were awesome. but they're talking about a top 3 defense and top 3 offense. And the Sixers won that game. That's incredible. You get that win. The Flyers win both their games. They win against the Knights, and then they also win against the Coyotes. So they get 2 wins there. You see Carter Hart get 41 saves. The Eagles' playoff positioning gets better. And on top of all that, you get little nuggets of hope from Adrian Wojnarowski on Ben Simmons, possibly being traded. Talk's heating up. We can be done with this. And better yet, not only can we be done with the Ben Simmons saga, not only can we be done with that, the Sixers, what matters most, the Sixers could be a better basketball team by the end of this week. By bringing in whatever top 25 talent the Sixers could possibly bring in for Ben Simmons, they could be a better team come Friday. Can't think of many better weekends than that. Merry Christmas, everyone. It's like Scrooge woke up and looked out his window. Buy the fattest goose, young boy. Anyway. Whatever commercial? Oh, it was the Peloton commercial. Yeah, that's the one that's in my head. Go Birds, Mopar, good morning. Go Birds indeed. I saw earlier Lime Green. I prefer Danny Lime Green as opposed to Green. I like it. Samuel, Thybulle plays great defense, but so did Simmons. If Simmons scored less than 10 points and played great defense, he could get criticized. Yep. Wait. Hold on. Here's the thing with Simmons, though. Thybulle's at least working on his game. And Thybulle, I don't think, has it in him to choke. Like, let's not forget, like, the perfect way to counteract that and I get what you're saying, and you're right, but the bar is set so much higher for Ben Simmons. Number 1 overall pick. Matisse Thybulle's looked at as a steal late in the draft. Simmons is a 3-time All-Star that you would expect would rise to the occasion in the playoffs and not shrink from it. And with a high bar like that, yeah, you got to reach that bar. Otherwise, people are going to think, or people are going to know you're not reaching your full potential, because that's ultimately what people are judging. Like Thybulle has a lower bar, a much lower bar. Now with his defensive ability, certainly he's got to hit that bar every single night. Like he can't have an off game. And as your old coaches told you growing up, oh, defense is never streaky. Your shot some days just can't go in, but defense is about effort and heart. Well, Matisse Thybulle has more odds of that happening every single night. Just as Ben Simmons has that happening every single night, and his defensive prowess was always there. But like that clutch gene trying to come up, there's no better analogy than Ben literally passing to Matisse Thybulle on the pass against the Hawks in Game 7. So I get what you're saying, and you're not wrong, but I don't think people compare the two, because Thybulle doesn't have that high bar, that high expectation that Ben Simmons had coming into the league. Number 1 overall pick, like I said, a 3-time All-Star. So Ben can have a game like a 15 assist, 15 rebound game like he had against the Wizards, I want to say. No, excuse me. I think it was Game 2 against the Hawks in that series, Eastern Conference semifinals last year. And people will still criticize him for not scoring, and that's true. I didn't, but people did. But Thybulle doesn't have that high a bar, so I think people will give him that leeway. John Cheeseborough, good morning. But Samuel, I understand what you're saying. You're not wrong. If I could, would you? Hey, what's up? Oh, Seamus. Seamus, is it Roche? Possibly? Welcome. Hello. Jockstrap, what's going on? Good morning, John Cheeseborough. Mike, what's up, Jay? That's very nice. Love it when you guys chit-chat as well. What the hell? Jockstrap and Cheeseborough are going at it, which is something I never thought I'd say on this show, but there we are. Jockstrap and Cheeseborough. It's a battle, folks. Perfect use of what? It's hard to get a top 25 player when the team and fans say Ben Simmons is such a bad player. Samuel, here's where we'll agree on. We'll definitely agree on this. Well, not that I disagreed with what you said earlier. I just don't think people have that high bar. Everyone's saying Ben Simmons is a bad player, so how do you trade a bad player for a top 25 pick is basically Samuel's point here. I think the NBA knows how good Ben Simmons is, and I still think Ben Simmons is a pretty damn good player. And I would have loved to have Ben Simmons against the Warriors. I would have loved to have Ben Simmons against the Jazz. It would have been a much different game if Ben Simmons was playing there. Ben Simmons is not a bad basketball player. Ben Simmons has a long way to go to reach his full potential. And I know Stephen A. Smith has been shouting this from the rooftops. I've been shouting it well before that. Ben Simmons is an MVP candidate if he hits his free throws and gets a mid-range game. Don't even, not threes, not from beyond the perimeter, just a mid-range game, makes his foul shots. MVP candidate. That's how great he is in everything else. That's how great he is at being a facilitator. That's how great he is at being a defender. That's how great he is. To be that close to be one of the best players in the league, like an MVP candidate, one of the best players in the league, and not really make motions to be better is awful. And again, that comes down to the what's expected. That comes down to expectations. That comes down to a high bar that's set. That comes down to a precedent that you set for yourself. Ben Simmons is well worthy of a 3-time All-Star. Well worthy of it. Still a good player. Great defender. Great facilitator. To get to great all-around game, he's still got steps he has to take. But I think you can trade a top 25 player for Ben Simmons and still get a good return on your investment in that trade. So I don't think the league has forgotten how good a basketball player Ben Simmons is. I think he is definitely being put through the ringer here in Philadelphia because people obviously, at the very least, don't find the mental health aspects that he's claiming for why he's not playing right now. They find that to be disingenuous. They find it to be extremely convenient that all of a sudden that's just popped up in conversation. When if that was really going on, that should have been the first thing talked about. Not, I want to, it's not up to me to fix my trade value. Not, I don't want to play in Philly. Not, I don't want to play with Ben Simmons. Or I don't want to play with Joel Embiid. All those things shouldn't be leaked out. The first thing that should have been leaked out is Ben's going through some real personal stuff right now. And you know what? For the vast majority of Philadelphia, with the strides we've made as a people across this world, I think a lot of people would have been compassionate about that. But instead, everything else was dragged through the mud. And then when he started losing money, mental health issues. Like, if you don't find that suspect, I find that odd. Anyway, so yeah, I don't think the league has forgotten that Ben Simmons can be a top 25 player in the league. Or worthy in a trade with another package, some other pieces, worthy a top 25 player. In all honesty, I don't even want Hurts as Mally, in all honesty, I don't even want Harris as a Harris type of player. That's a good point. Carol, what's going on? How are you? Welcome to the chat. Mike, Tobias Harris is absolutely a disappointment as a max player. Alyssa, good morning. Hola, ¿cómo estás? I don't say usted because I feel like we know each other well enough, Alyssa. I don't need usted. Harris is is way too inconsistent. I agree with you, Mally. Mally's saying hola, Alyssa. Tobias would be fine as a third option in a big three, but the problem is with the two. Number two being whiny little, very nice. John, no, see, that's what I'm saying. In a 3-player type scenario where it's like Joel Embiid, blank, Tobias Harris is that third guy. I don't need a number 3. I need a solid. Not say what I was about to say. I need a very good number 2. That's what I need. Don't we all? I like when Alyssa says hello. Everyone says hello to Alyssa. Tired of QB controversy, John or Mally? Yeah, I don't disagree. Humble Philly Bull. Eagles don't deserve to make the playoffs. They suck and will be a one-and-done team. All right. Good enough for me. That's how you feel? Like, I never root against, like, especially when they have 3 first-round picks, it's hard for me to root for them to miss the playoffs. And what is Carson Wentz need? Like 5 more snaps, whatever it might be, and it locks in the first-round pick? Snap count thing just baffles me. So I'm not going to say I want them to lose for a better pick when they have 3 first-round picks. No, I'll take the playoffs. I'll take the playoff experience for Jalen Hurts. Here's the thing. Come on. Where is it? Here's the thing. This is from John. There's no guarantee Micah Parsons would have been used the same way here. See, that's my point. John, that's exactly what I'm saying when it comes to the whole idea of when's the last time the Eagles took a draft pick for their defense and that guy flourished and was like, oh, my God, you got to see this guy. Jordan Hicks. He had a pretty good rookie year, if I'm not mistaken. Now he's out in Arizona making great plays for them. Can't stand the NBA. 6% of the shots are threes. Yeah, maybe this is just the boomer in me talking, Ray, but like I love the NBA was much better. I mean, God, this isn't breaking news to anybody. I think everybody gets this, especially anyone that watched The Last Dance. The 90s, watching the Bulls, the early 2000s with the Lakers. I love that version of the NBA, and I don't really like the whole everything's based on the three-pointer nowadays. Like, I think driving to the lane, two good things can happen. Shooting a three, one good thing can happen. You hit the three. Driving to the lane, you could get the bucket and the foul, and you get somebody else in foul trouble. That, to me, is a lost art in the game, is getting somebody in foul trouble and getting to the line for the chance of a three-point play. So and plus, I think it's a more fun style of basketball to watch guys play that physical style than it is from a guy just hoisting threes throughout an entire game. That's not to say I don't love watching Steph Curry, because I really do, but the fact that that's the way the game that's what the game has morphed into, I don't enjoy nearly as much as I did when I was a kid. John saying, what it would be great to have DK and Justin Jefferson and then taking Parsons. Yes, that would be great. That's a little too on the revisionist history for me, though. Ray can't watch the NBA. That's why I give Howie another pick. Here you go. Ray's also saying Sixers are a whole team of inconsistency. You never know what you're getting from the players game to game. I'll agree in that you've just had a lot of injuries and COVID issues this year, but I think the second half of the season is actually going to get pretty good for the Sixers. I see the Sixers finishing at worst third in the Eastern Conference. That's how confident I'm going to be. That's how confident I'm going to be in the trade that you're going to make with Ben Simmons and what you're going to get back and how good this roster is already. The fact that I will say this, the fact that they can actually beat the Warriors in a game like that is a good sign. I still don't see them making it to the Eastern Conference Finals. They can still make it to the second round of the playoffs. They can still win a playoff series, but I still don't that's where I had them before that game anyway. But what they could get back in this trade, I think that would only solidify that idea. Mike, no, Ben's not a bad player. Ben is just a super big baby. We need him to grow up already. Ben and Carson Wentz walk into a bar. Wow. Jimmy Kempski has had a snap tracker. What I'm saying is, like, what if every game goes into overtime? Isn't that more snaps? And Carson Wentz doesn't play a lot in those. Like, that's the thing that confuses me. Trade Benson. Buddy T-Mac. What's up, buddy? Nice to have you in the chat here. Did I miss anybody? I don't think I did. I think we got everybody. A lot of optimism. That's good to have. Oh, April. Good morning, April. What's happening? Mike saying good morning, April. That's very nice. You guys are such gentlemen. Bunch of gentlemen in the chat. Thank you very much. Thanks to everyone that checked in on our chat check. Much appreciated. Let's talk to you about the great people of Rothman Orthopaedics, ladies and gentlemen. When you have an orthopedic issue, you need a physician who eats, sleeps, and breathes orthopedics. That's why I'm going to see Dr. Harwood tomorrow, as a matter of fact. Get my shoulder checked out again. You need an exceptionally specialized Rothman Orthopaedics physician like Dr. Harwood. They not only specialize in orthopedics, but each of their physicians only focuses in on one area of the body, which means you have the confidence to get past the pain and be what you were. Visit them in one of their 30-plus locations in Pennsylvania and New Jersey, including their orthopedic-only urgent cares. 4 of them. 4 orthopedic-only urgent cares. Learn more at RothmanOrtho.com. That's RothmanOrtho.com. How about the people at BetQL? You want to get the advantage over your sportsbook? You need to download the BetQL app, the only app you'll need to make the smart bets. Their best bets computer model scans everything from 350,000 unique bets per year to give you the best bet recommendation for every game across all major sports. And they give you the reasoning why you should place that bet. Their model covers everything from point spreads, over-unders, player props. Don't want to use their model and prefer to do your own research? BetQL has all the necessary tools for your betting research needs. Everything from sharp data, line movement, team summaries, lineups, injuries, breaking news, and a leaderboard to help you track your own success. Head to the App Store now or Google Play Store to download the BetQL app. That's BetQL. How about the people at PHL Sports Nation? Whatever's going on with the Ben Simmons trade conversation, make sure you're following it all through PHLSportsNation.com across all social media and blogs, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience, PHLSportsNation.com. How about the great people of WinView? WinView, the only game where fans can take on other fans and end the debate once and for all. Who's the biggest sports fan? If you have those friends and family members who think they know everything about sports, play them in a WinView contest and have them walk the walk. See if they can do that as well as they talk the talk. You want to break up the monotony of family dinners and get-togethers? Play during a quarter of Monday Night Football and get a little skin in the game. Makes it a little bit more interesting. It's a perfect way to add an extra layer of competition to your fantasy football league. I had Green Bay's defense yesterday. Also won my WinView challenge with my buddy in my fantasy league. While you're tracking the games on Sundays as well, while you're tracking all the big sports, make sure you're following it all on WinView and challenge a friend or family member to a WinView contest. It's not a sports book. It's not daily fantasy. It's a social gaming app where fans can win real money prizes on making predictions on the games that you love so much. So download the WinView app right now. Now let's get into our morning rush, brought to you by Sky Motorcars and SkyMotorcars.com. Once again, Sixers back in action tonight against the Grizzlies. Then you got the Flyers back in action tomorrow night, going for 3 wins in a row. They got the Devils tomorrow night, the hated New Jersey Devils. Hopefully the Flyers keep that going. One of the best things I saw over the weekend, and I don't have it loaded, unfortunately. Alonzo Mourning, growing up, was one of my favorite basketball players to watch. If you didn't see him with his arm around a very young Steph and Seth Curry while their dad, Del Curry, was playing, it's something that you got to check out. Obviously, heyday with the Hornets. I remember, Grandmama with, Larry Johnson and Alonzo Mourning, with those two huge dudes down there in Charlotte with the original version of the Charlotte Hornets. They got Zoe sitting on the bench, Del Curry checking into the game, and Zoe's got his arms around little kid Seth and Steph Curry. If you haven't seen that yet, definitely it's worth a view on the social media platforms a little bit later on today if you get a second. And that's what I got for you. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, little bonus me today. I'll be on Fox 29 with my friends Mike Jarek and Alex Holly coming up, talking about this weekend sports, recapping it all, giving all the piping hot takes as per usual. So make sure you check that out a little bit later today. I will be on Fox 29, so make sure you guys check that out. One thing I do want to get back to from the chat, Mike Johnson, the only time that we should see a bunch of three-point shots is a three-point shooting contest in All-Star Weekend. And yes, it definitely feels like the NBA has morphed into that more and more as time has gone on. So, hey, look, maybe this time tomorrow, I leave you with this thought. Maybe this time tomorrow, there'll be another nugget dropped, another Woj bomb dropped on Ben Simmons and what could take place in the not-too-distant future for what the Sixers could get back in return. Whether you're looking at Sacramento, whether they're looking at San Antonio, whether they're looking at Washington. A deal's going to happen soon. I'm feeling it right now, and I feel like it could happen this week. If it doesn't happen this week, then you're probably looking at the deadline. And I don't know if I can take much more of what – look, they beat the Warriors, and that's great. But as we pointed out in the chat, the inconsistencies that we're seeing the inconsistencies we're consistently seeing, how's that? With the Sixers, I think I'm good on that. Love to see Tyrese Maxey get even better. Matisse Thybulle get even better. Joel Embiid continuing to dominate, right? The more I can see that, great. But I also want to know that this team can really push for the Eastern Conference Finals at the very least. I want to have confidence in this team making it to an NBA final. And right now, I don't have confidence that they can do that. I think they'll be one of the better teams in the Eastern Conference, but they were the best team in the Eastern Conference last year, and they still got bounced out in the second round. I see them making the playoffs. I think that's no doubt, no question. They could even win a playoff series, as we talked about last week with Michael KB. But this week could be the week where everything comes to fruition. And maybe even this time tomorrow, we'll be talking about the Sixers and what trade is going to make them the team what's going to make this team go over the hump in terms of a Ben Simmons deal. So hopefully that actually comes to fruition. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Catch me on Fox 29 coming up at 7:45 today. Jim Hyden produced the program, did a phenomenal job. This is a Buzz Sports and Entertainment production. My name is Marc Farzetta. See you guys tomorrow morning from the Steven Singer Studios. Have a great rest of the day, everybody. Take it easy.